Hey guys, SoCal Val here. You are listening to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I am your host, Adam Cousins, and right now we are talking Raw Reload. Yes, it is just me. Dave is, well, any time now will be a dad again for the second time. His baby boy is due literally any time now. So we wish him and Stace, obviously, a healthy birth, healthy baby. And Dave, we look forward to seeing the new boy on the show. You've got 1 day paternity leave. We are only just kidding about that. Dave can take as long as he needs. Andy is busy with a lot of stuff at work and at home, so it is just me. So I'll keep it as brief as I can, so you don't have to listen to my dulcet tones for very, very long. Raw this week was from California and Ontario. For a minute I thought it was Ontario, Canada, but it was California. It started with Cody Rhodes once again cutting another promo. This is the big thing about this, and I don't necessarily think that it's really entertaining anymore. Cody cutting a promo. What do you want to talk about? He goes on about Jey Uso again, how we're not in the third innings anymore. Basically trying to say why he chose to select him to come to Monday Night Raw and use his political powers to bring Jey Uso to Raw. I'm not a big fan of this whole Cody thing. I don't know where Cody sits now. They're still trying to finish a story. SmackDown still hasn't got their draft compensation that they were due for this. And it's just becoming a little bit tedious now. I just wish they would move on and get to that point as to why Jey Uso is on Raw and what happens to SmackDown and who they get as draft compensation. Nevertheless, and as generally as normal on Monday Night Raw, he is confronted by the Judgment Day. They basically say now it's all his fault. Jay's going to pay for disrespecting us. Basically, Cody makes a little bit of a hint of basically how the Judgment Day are falling apart. They're defending all their championships tonight on Raw, and what happens when Mummy comes back and you guys have got nothing in your empty hands. Dominic wasn't very happy. Keep Mummy's name out of your mouth. A good Will Smith reference there. As they go to climb the ring apron to get Cody for 3-on-1, Sammy and Kevin come through the crowd, slide into the ring. At that point, it's 3-on-3, and Judgment Day appears to move away. And then JD McDonough comes into the ring with 2 chairs, and then they all go into the ring, although Priest is very confused at this point, and they all go to the ring to try and beat them up. It leads to a big brawl, and Jey Uso then comes out. And then super kicks Priest, and as Priest is getting up, Cody hits him with a big chair shot to end the segment. Teasing again issues within the Judgment Day. JD McDonough, Jey Uso's there. It was a good segment to start, but it's just like, again, this is a tedious thing. Like with the Bloodline, there was at least different elements to this, and I know you can class JD McDonough as a different element, but it's still, for me, it's still a bit of a problem, and I'm not quite sure how the WWE deal with it. So going forward, we'll see what happens. But yeah, a little bit tedious at this point for me. We then move to the first match, which I think is absolutely brilliant. It is Otis and Bronson Reed, 2 big guys just beating the crap out of each other. This was for a big guy versus big guy match, and you can get these, and they can be very slow paced or very sort of boring because there's only so much they can do, but these guys have an athletic ability about them, and it just makes for such a better hard-hitting contest. They've got a little bit of pace about them. They're not massively quick, but they do have different elements to their move sets, to the way that they work, which actually makes this match brilliant. It was a good sort of 10 minutes, but there was a 10-minute slugfest. Bronson Reed ends up getting the win with the tsunami, as Wade Barrett would say. Forgive me, Wade, that was a really poor imitation of you. But anyway, at that point, as I say, Bronson Reed gets the win. We go backstage, and Tegan Knox was back there, and she's sort of saying how she let Natalya have a title shot last week out of respect. And Becky Lynch was like, you've got to stop with the respect thing. You need to tread on toes to get where, you get an opportunity. So you need to make sure you get the opportunity to face me. And Tegan's actually in action against Natalya later on. So we'll talk about that. There was a good vignette about Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee takes on Dominic Mysterio a bit later on Raw for the the NXT North American title. I'm very big on them showcasing the NXT North American title on Raw. I don't mind it. I think sometimes you do need to leave those matches for NXT, but I'm glad that they're showcasing talent, and it may be that they're showcasing talent to give you an idea of who's next in line to move up to Raw. Although I think probably Braun Breaker will probably be one of those names that will be moving up a bit before. But Dragon Lee is a very talented worker, so maybe they're giving us an idea. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're just saying, let's just put this on Raw. But I'm a big fan of it. Not necessarily too much of it, but it's good to see the NXT bits getting showcased, because again, it brings viewers to NXT. And although NXT did drop in the ratings this week, there was no Becky Lynch on there. Has that got something to do with it? Who knows? But they do have No Mercy, I believe, this weekend or next weekend, one of the two. It is this weekend. Yeah, I think it's Saturday. They've got No Mercy on, so that'll be a great show. Anyway, the next match was Ludwig Kaiser and Ciampa. Ludwig Kaiser is one of the most underrated wrestlers in WWE. Obviously, working with Gunther, you don't always get to see him because he's part of Imperium, but he can go. Vinci's a great worker, and Gunther. They've really three great workers on this team. This match was to say Tommaso Ciampa, who's also a very good worker and a veteran in the ring. So it was a really good match. Really enjoyed it. There was a nice little... They called it a reverse DDT, but it's really a Scorpion Death Drop. But obviously, Sting's not there anymore. At this point, there was a bit where he done a knee strike. Ciampa done a knee strike to Vinci. Kaiser then had the match won, but because the ref was trying to get Vinci out of the ring, didn't make the cover. Ciampa then gets to victory with a flash knee, which is a really good... It was not only a good flash knee, it was sold brilliantly by Kaiser as well. So you do have to give Kaiser his props for selling that fantastically well. Gets the free count. Ciampa goes on, and he really wants a Gunther, maybe at Fastlane or Payback or whatever's next. Sorry, but I think it's Fastlane. Yeah, Fastlane is next. We just had Payback. So it'd be interesting. When does that happen? I pretty much think that's going to happen at Payback. Fastlane. God, these pay-per-views. Yeah, Fastlane. At the back, Priest is absolutely going crazy about the JD McDonough situation. We then move to Tegan Nox and Natalya. Becky Lynch is on commentary. This was a decent match. It was no better than... It was passable for the match. And Natalya is such a great worker, but she's never really hit the heights that she should be in a WWE. Is that poor booking? Is that because WWE don't see her as a champion, maybe as enhancement? She's been enhancement talent near enough as long as she's been there, but she's far better than really what WWE are making out. But she is the reliable one. She is their go-to. If they want to get somebody over, they'll put them against Natalya. If they want a really good, if they want two women to have a really great match, they'll put them against Natalya. This match, again, was a passable match. Natalya was really good. Tegan Nox is okay. She won with the shiniest wizard after Nox drive Natalya face first into the middle rope after she tried to put the sharpshooter on. And then Nox gets the win and picks up the victory and will go on, I believe, to face Becky Lynch for the NXT Women's Championship. Could be next week. But Becky Lynch does have a match at No Mercy. See, there's another pay-per-view. These pay-per-views at No Mercy at the weekend is it's going to be an Extreme Rules match versus Tiffany Stratton, the rematch. Now, what I did like, and this is one thing that I normally praise Impact Wrestling for, they did say that whoever wins this match whoever wins the match at No Mercy will take on Tegan Nox. So at least they've made it part of potentially that Tiffany Stratton could win the rematch at No Mercy in Extreme Rules. So I like that. And it's about time that the people have taken the lead from Impact Wrestling and have said, yes, if that does happen, then it will be this. So kudos to WWE. It's only taken you 70 years to get that right, but well done. It is there now. Ricochet's, so we go backstage. Ricochet's injured. He doesn't really care who wins the match at Fastlane. See, it's Fastlane. because he's got unfinished business with Nakamura. Nakamura basically injured Ricochet. I think it's a legitimate injury. I'm not sure. And the Kevin Owens is angry. What a surprise. He wants to punch someone in the face tonight. There is a good segment with Seth Rollins and Nakamura. Again, we've walked into this, we've gone into this last few weeks and we're saying how this is the Nakamura that we've wanted for so long. The evil Nakamura, the Nakamura that goes, the killer, really, that is Shinsuke Nakamura. That's what WWE should have gone with at the very start. It's taken them so long. It's now taken it to a point where you think, is it too late for this Nakamura, the Nakamura that we all wanted to see? He has a vignette with Seth Rollins, an interview with Seth Rollins, and Nakamura comes on the screen, basically announcing that the match at Fastlane is going to be a last man standing match, which is absolutely apt for the story that they're telling, which is Seth Rollins is back. How much punishment can the back of Seth Rollins take if he can answer a 10 count? So that makes storyline sense perfectly, well executed. Again, Nakamura looks like a killer. It's exactly what we want. And, but you do have to say this. He's going to have to win, I think, on this. If he doesn't win the championship at this pay-per-view, I think that's it for Nakamura and WWE. I don't think he'll be at that level again. So it's kind of like a now or never. We mentioned if that's going to be the same for LA Knight, but it is kind of now or never for Nakamura. My only inkling about this is that maybe Damian Priest sees this as an ideal opportunity to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase after a last man standing match. If you think logically and you think like a heel, you want your champion to be dead in a sense. This gives them the perfect opportunity to cash in the Money in the Bank. So that could happen at Fastlane. We will wait and see next weekend. The following match after this is a North American Championship match between Dominic Mysterio and Dragon Lee. Now, this match was absolutely brilliant. Everyone who's normally criticized Mysterio and Dominic Fury's in-ring work, I think on this one, it was brilliant. This whole match was fantastic. Kudos to both of these guys. There was some amazing action in this. Dragon Lee is a star. Dominic Mysterio is probably the best heel in the business right now, in my opinion, anyway. You can agree or disagree. You can comment below. This match was brilliant. It was a lengthy match. The end of it had Mysterio tied up in a tree of woe. But Mysterio manages to dump Dragon Lee's face on the top turnbuckle pad and picks up the frog splash for the victory without any help from Judgment Day, without any help from Rhea Ripley, who is still selling her injuries from Nia Jax a couple of weeks ago. That is better from the Judgment Day. We don't want to see constant interference, and I'll get to that a little bit later on when we go into the main event. This was brilliant. It showcased Dominic Mysterio. It gave him the opportunity to prove that he can actually win a match on his own and how he's actually improved in the ring. He, as I said before, he is the top heel in wrestling, in my opinion, at the moment. You can say piping, crowded noise as much as you like. There wasn't much piping in my opinion, if you listen to that crowd on Monday night. But there will be people, mainly AEW fans, that will say, oh, it's piped in. Well, you lie about attendances. So you really do the same kind of thing. So don't judge on it when your company does the same thing. So anyway, I'm not saying anything bad about AEW, just basically stating the fact that they both, WWE and AEW, both do things that they shouldn't do. And it's just, if you're a big fan of AEW, you'll excuse it. And if you're a big fan of WWE, you'll excuse it. But for me in the middle, I'll call it out. So have that. If you don't like it, don't watch. But please do watch, that is. There was a Nia Jax thing here. Basically, she squashed everybody. She's Nia Jax. She's the baddest human in WWE. Zoe Stark takes exception to that, comes out for a match. And to be quite honest, she went, Nia Jax just shoved her to the canvas. She cashes Starks in midair. She basically, hell breaks loose. And then there's a very quick match. The Annihilator from Nia Jax pick up the victory. So we're saying about give the woman time. And this match, they really didn't give the woman time. But it did continue the story of Nia Jax decimating everyone. It didn't do Zoe Stark any harm. it elevates Nia Jax to a level which you've got to make sure that she's a believable contender. From her look, she's a very believable contender for Rhea Ripley. I'm not saying that for the fact, but from her ring work, we all know that there was a bit of an issue there. But by doing short matches with high impact moves, Nia Jax, in my opinion, works absolutely fine. I don't think you'll get a 20-minute match out of her because of the way that the moves that she does. These are the type of things, you go back to sort of Goldberg in WCW. It was bang, spear, jackhammer, maybe the press slam into the sort of power slam situation. He really only connected with a few moves and the matches was over. That's exactly what they should be doing with Nia Jax. She shouldn't be in a lengthy match because it wouldn't have the same effect as what it is at the moment. So that's a good way. It doesn't harm Zoe Stark because he isn't she wasn't the underdog, or she was the underdog going into this match, but it doesn't harm her that she lost quickly to Nia Jax at all, in my opinion. And I think that's a great way of showcasing Nia Jax. And people can say, "Oh, she's reckless" and all this stuff. Look, I'll give it to you another way, and I don't like keep using AEW as a comparison, and especially because there is a big difference in size and weight. Darby Allin's just the same as Nia Jax. He weighs a lot less, and he will probably do more damage to himself. But he's more not necessarily reckless to a degree. He isn't really reckless, and neither is Nia Jax. It's all a timing thing. But Darby Allin is really quick, and sometimes too quick when he does his outside of the ring moves and stuff like that. So it works both ways in this, and you just have to look at it with head on. But in my opinion, Nia Jax, quick, impactful matches to get her victories is exactly the way that she should be booked. So again, kudos for WWE for booking her that way. That's what it should be doing. Jey Uso was interviewed by Byron Saxton. He's not going to be joining any groups. It is what it is in terms of his beef with Owens, but Sami Zayn is still his dog, and he will keep a close eye on the main event, as we will. At this point, they hype up the Elimination Chamber in Australia. Ludwig Kaiser is still trying to recruit Maxine Dupree. Gable has basically said he's still got unfinished business with Gunther. Gunther then does the Bobby Lashley and gives him Imperium some tough love. Vinci's now Kaiser's responsibility. If either of them does something wrong, he'll take actions into his own hands. I'm hoping they don't start splitting Imperium up, and we keep saying that's what they tend to do. But I'm hoping that they don't. They need to keep it as they are. They're a great team, as they are. So 3 great workers. Okay, maybe you can argue that Vinci and Kaiser are not showcased as much as they should be, and you do have a valid point with that. But right now, while this is working, you should just leave it as it is. Miz TV next with Drew McIntyre. Miz didn't really get Drew. He was trying to basically say he was on your side. And Drew was like, "I'm nothing like you, Miz." And Miz was like, we're a lot alike. And he was saying about how he don't trust Jay. Drew says Karma's a bitch. And basically he was interrupted by Kofi Kingston that was saying, "Oh, Big D, we didn't know you're cold-blooded like that." And was basically saying Big D's a little D. And then there was a lot of it when Miz was trying to chime in and Drew kept going, "Shut up, Miz." And that bit was brilliant because it was a serious side. There was a bit of comedy involved, not too much. There was just keep going, "Shut up, Miz," which was actually really good. And that actually set up, in my opinion, again, match of the night. Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston was fantastic. There was a big move on the outside of the ring when he done I can't remember what the move was called actually, but he done this big thing on the outside of the ring. There was future shock DDTs. That was it. It was a reverse Alabama slam onto the ring apron on the outside. So he had him sort of with his legs over his head. He threw him back down onto the ring apron on the outside of the ring. That was brilliant from McIntyre. He then beat McIntyre. There was Ivar come out. He was attacking Woods on the outside of the ring. He does him with a spinning heel kick, throws him into the barricade, cross-body splash. Kofi's distracted. McIntyre connects with a Claymore to pick up the win. And then after that, Ivar then starts beating up Kofi Kingston. Drew's walking up to the stage. He turns around. He was arming Iron River to help. Then he just walked to the back as Ivar delivered a devastating moonsault off the top rope. Another big guy that can work really well is Ivar. There you go. Brilliant moonsault. And that ends that bit. Tegan Knox gets a shot next week at the Women's Championship. So they do. Tegan Knox, Becky Lynch, the winner goes on to Fastlane. My bad for getting that confused earlier on, but I was getting pay-per-views confused as well. So there you go. There's a contract signing next week for the Intercontinental. I hate contract signings. AEW done the right one a couple of weeks ago, or was it AEW or WWE? WWE done it right with the Becky Lynch, Tiffany Stratton one when they just had a backstage signing. Why can't they just do that? You don't need to waste ring time doing a bloody contract signing. You should already have signed the contract to agree the match. So annoying, very annoying. But hey ho, it is what it is. Can't change it, and that is it. Main event time on the WWE next, which was the Judgment Day versus Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship. Again, really, really good main event. There was a lot of near falls. There was avalanche rolling sent-ons. There was so much going on. They kicked out of the coup de grace at this point. You're thinking Zayn and Owens are going to do it. There was a exploder suplex by Sami. Dominic comes out. JD McDonough comes out. Jey Uso comes out. They are basically, and then as Sami Zayn delivers the haluva kick, we're thinking here comes the change. McDonough hits him with a Money in the Bank briefcase, and that allows Priest to pick up the ring. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso come out to attack him, and they have this big brawl to end Raw. The big brawl to end Raw was absolutely fine. I like that. But this interference with the Judgment Day week in, week out. Dominic Mysterio had one of the best matches that he's ever had. Didn't need interference in his match. Why does Priest and Balor, or why do they constantly need interference? Why can't they think of a different way to, give the Judgment Day the victory? I know it's not always, they don't always want to do clean wins, but surely there's better ways to do it. Look, that finished Raw. Raw was very good. Enjoyed it. Again, much like the last few weeks, I haven't had to record over it or fast forward, Raw. So those are generally means that if I can watch Raw for 3 hours without fast forwarding, it's generally a good show. Guys, this has been Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We've got AEW review, SmackDown review, Collision review coming up. We've got some interviews coming up as well over the next few weeks. We're really looking forward to it. We're really happy that we've got these guys coming on. It was great to talk to Adam Jones this week about his story. Sunset Skip, we're going to have his show recorded and sent out next week as well. That's a very good interview. Any more independent guys, promoters, or anything like that want to come on, just message us on social media. We'll get it all set up. And we're very much looking forward to having you on the show and having a good old chat about some wrestling. Big shout out to Inside the Ropes for their fantastic Eric Bischoff tour this week. It was fantastic to go down there on London and meet the man himself. He's an absolute treasure. Fiona, thank you so much for making us feel welcome in that show. And Kenny, the maestro, as always, was a fantastic guy. If you've never been, and I've said this so many times before, to an Inside the Ropes evening with a talent, get down there. They are brilliant. You get value for money. It's a great show. Fantastic. Good old laugh and chuckle with some of the stories that the wrestlers tell. The next show, whatever they do, get a ticket and get down there. But for now, guys, this has been the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. I have been your host, Adam Cousins. Until next time, everybody, buckle down. Stay safe.